Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, I'm glad you are here again. So today we are going to be making pizza. Stay tuned. All you need is flour, warm water, sugar, salt, and olive oil. And first step is to add your sugar to your warm water. That is half teaspoon of sugar to the warm water. That's 1/4 warm water, cup of warm water, and then we'll be adding 1 teaspoon of yeast also. And you're just going to stir that in, and then you're going to look out for bubbles. So you see those bubbles, those creamy thing on top, that shows that our yeast is alive. If you do not have that, throw that away and get alive yeast, if that sounds right. Next, we're going to be adding salt to the flour. That's just 1 teaspoon of salt to 3.5 cups of flour, and then you're going to stir that in. You don't add it to the yeast because, well, it kills it. And so you're going to be adding olive oil to the flour, and that's 3 tablespoons, not teaspoons. And then you add the water mix, and that is it. Can you imagine how easy that is? So next, we're going to be stirring this with a spoon. I'm only doing this to reduce the mess. It's still going to get messy, but just to reduce the mess that would be caused. So I'm just going to stir that in for a little while before we get all messy and use our hands. Yes, you're going to use your hands. So if you don't like to get messy, pizza is not for you. So now I'm using my hands to just mix it in. Better to use one hand. If you can use two, fine. I realize that two hands doesn't even make sense for me. So we're just going to mix that in, just allowing all the flour, the sugar, the olive oil to mix in. So as we are mixing, I just want to educate you a little about the sugar. While we add the sugar is to feed the yeast. So next, we're going to knead, and all you have to do is put flour to avoid it from sticking to your work table. So please clean your countertop or wherever you're using before you knead. Hygiene is important. So now we're going to be kneading, and kneading is just a continuous step of folding in and pulling. If I can explain it like that, just look at the screen. So I'm pulling it apart. I don't even know how to explain this. So you're going to knead for about 10 minutes. Just set a timer. I know it's going to be workouts, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. So we're going to knead for about 10 minutes. You guys needed to have seen me when I was doing this. I was sweating. So this just showed me that I needed to, be working out during this period. And so you're going to knead, and knead. I can't even repeat that enough. So the more you knead, kneading is very important. You don't want to over knead. You don't want to. Is there anything like over kneading stuff? Just knead for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes and you are good to go. So we're going to knead and knead and knead and knead. That is the only step again that requires energy. The dough is simple to make, but you're going to have to knead. So next, I'm just rolling it, trying to mold it. I want it to be smooth as I put it in my bowl and ready for the dough to rise. So we're going to get any bowl. It doesn't have to be metallic, it could be glass, whatever the bowl. You just put it in a bowl. You add your olive oil. You're going to see that in a bit. So yeah, that is my bowl. I'm using the metallic bowl. So I'm going to add in my olive oil. Olive oil gives flavor to your dough, to your pastry. In pizza, it's amazing. So you're just going to mix that in. I like using my hands. Can you guys tell? So I'm going to put that in the bowl and then rub olive oil on the body. Now I'm putting olive oil so that it doesn't stick to the bowl, and when I want to get it out, it is not a struggle. So that is why I'm actually including olive oil in the bowl. So yeah, that is it. I just wanted to also tell you guys that. Next, we're going to cover it with cling film. I prefer cling film because, or if you like, you can use foil paper, but I prefer cling film to towel because it doesn't stick. So next I'm going to try and cover it with that and put it in the oven to rise. We're going to head over to make our pizza sauce, and I put olive oil, garlic and ginger. I'm going to allow that to simmer a bit just to get the flavors of the ginger and the garlic out and ready to be tasty. Next I'm going to add oregano. Is it oregano? That shot. Again, I'm going to leave it in the description. Remember to check it. I'm going to add that to the mix. It gives it herbs, is I feel is very important. Next we're going to add in our chopped onions. Yes, onions you're going to add. It's going to cook. For those of you that are scared, you can grate it if you don't like to see it like this, but still it's going to cook down and you would hardly see it in your pizza. I promise you're going to see that really soon at the end. You would not notice it in your pizza because it's going to cook thoroughly. Now I'm adding Italian seasoning. If you do not have this, don't be worried. If you have parsley leaf, it's perfect. And if you would want all these spices I'm using, I'm going to be doing a vlog really soon to show you where I get some, and some of them I sell. Quick advert. Now I'm going to be adding in sea salt. You shouldn't over season your pizza sauce, or else you end up with a salty pizza, and it's not even healthy. We're trying to be health conscious here, guys, so minimal seasoning, just go for the natural stuff. Yes, I'm trying to be a nutritionist here. So next thing, I'm adding in Dash, Mrs. Dash. That's the name of the spice. I'm going to show you really quick. Yeah, that's it. So for those of you on a diet, or you want to have a healthier cooking style, all these types of spices like the black pepper, they are amazing. And see, they're amazing and good. So see, I'm about to taste. I was just going to say that your tongue is your what? Oracle. So next I'm going to be adding in chili pepper, or aka rodo, aka scotch bonnet. I'm going to add that. It's not going to be peppery, I promise you. It's just going to give it the hint of spice to awaken those tomatoes that we're going to add in very soon. Next we're going to be adding in black pepper. See this mixture, all these things bring flavor, not saltiness, but flavor to your food or to your meal. So again, don't worry, I got you guys after this quarantine period and telling you where you can get stuff from, or even helping you to get it. Also, I'm here for you guys. So now this is tomato puree. This is not the regular tin tomato you use for jollof rice. It comes in plums sometimes and you have to crush it, but you can use that, but you have to add a lot of water so it can be as light. I'm adding in water right now because the sauce is going to cook for about 30 to 40 minutes on low heat. It's just going to keep simmering and reducing and allowing those flavors to develop. And so remember, thou shalt not waste. So I'm scraping in everything as I can, and we're just going to cover this up because it tends to splash. Cover this. Oh, before that I add in my honey. I actually forgot. A lot of people use sugar, but we're opting for a healthier version. You know, health is wealth. Yes, health is wealth. Again, thou shalt not waste. So your girl is scraping, going to scrape, and see me chai scraping and scraping and scraping it until everything is almost there. And so what does the honey do? It gives a tint of sweetness, not sugariness, just sweetness. It's like the barbecue sauce. You get my vibe, you get my mood. So I'm going to cover this up finally and allow it to cook. It tends to splash, guys, so if you don't want your countertop and everywhere to be all messy, I advise you to cover your sauce while it cooks. So next we're going to move on to be making our toppings. Today I'm going to be using chicken, bacon and sausages. Here I'm just adding garlic salt, and then I'm adding adobo. I really like this spice and garlic salt. It's just beautiful together. Next we're going to be adding a little oyster black pepper. Remember what I said about all these spices? You don't see me, I hardly use I don't want the sauce to be all the toppings, because all of them are going to be equally spiced. So you don't want it to be too much or too overwhelming. You want to still taste it, everything, every bite. So I'm adding oyster sauce. It just, I don't know, it has this juiciness and flavor about it. So I'm going to mix that. I love getting messy in the kitchen. So yeah, I'm going to set that aside and allow it to marinate for a while. You don't have to, I just want to. So I'm adding a little olive oil, and then I'm going to be tossing our sausages. You don't want them to be brown or cooked because they're still going to cook in the oven on top of the pizza. So we're just going to be stir frying them for a bit, just here and there, just basically moving it around for about 2 minutes, actually 2 minutes tops. It's just to warm it up since it was from the pack. Now I'm going to add in this taco seasoning. So taco seasoning, just imagine, I'm trying to explain how it feels. Is pepper, but it's not peppery, and then it has this toast about it, like it's smoked. Yes, that is it. And so I'm going to be setting this aside. Your girl was impatient, so I just poured it. I couldn't pretend for you guys. And so next we're going in with our bacon. This bacon has fat. That's the whitish part you can see. Some of it's, not all, do, and so it's going to leave out some of the oil, and that's what we want to use to cook our chicken. So this is going to cook a little longer than the sausages because this is completely raw. It's not semi-cooked. I'm tasting it to see if it is one of those that are preserved by salt, but it wasn't. So we're just going to season it a bit. I'm not going to use any salt or any Maggi, but just something to bring out the taste of the bacon. So here I'm just going to be adding homemade soya spice. Yes, guys, homemade. So I'm going to be teaching you guys that in subsequent videos, but this is homemade, grinded and dried at home. And so I'm going to toss that around and allow it to just brown a bit. So this is going to cook for about 5 minutes. And so it is cooked and ready to be set aside. Also, can you see a little of the oil on the pan? Just greasy, a little. Those juices are beautiful to cook anything. So now we're going to be adding our chicken. I'm not putting any oil at all because the chicken has its own oil and water that is going to come out from it. So just reduce your fire and let it do its work. So now the chicken is cooked but not thoroughly cooked. You can still see some guinea. And so I tasted it again just to make sure that it's perfect. Perfection is what we're going for. Not really, I'm joking. So see the water that I said. You can see some hint of oil in the water. I'm not going to allow that to waste. Trust me, I'm adding that to our pizza sauce. So I allowed this to cook on another cooker for a while and see it splashing. Now that is chopped green onions. I said green onions, chopped green pepper. I was going to say spring onion. I like spring onions and green pepper. I feel like it gives flavor to your food. If you notice that you can't see the onions as I turned the sauce. And now my dough has risen. So I allowed this to rest in the oven for it to rise for about 1 hour 30 minutes. You can allow it to rise for more. My people were hungry, and so I had to just get on feed. But I like it to rise for a minimum of 1 hour, guys. Minimum of 1 hour. And there you have our wonderful dough. Beautiful. And so I'm going to just put my fingers in because I want, when it's cooking, those imperfections for it to show. Like, that's the beauty of homemade pizza. Imperfections, sorry, let's just go ahead. So I'm just going to stretch this out a bit and then knead again, but this time I'm kneading for just about 1 to 2 minutes just to waken up the dough. And see that bounce? That's what you want, for it to bounce back. And so knead again for about 1 to 2 minutes max, just to awaken it a bit. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Next thing, I'm going to cut it into 4. You can cut it into 2 if you want, but I want 4 pizzas because, well, I just want 4. I don't my pan is not even big enough to take that much, and I don't want it too thick, I don't want it too thin either. So yeah, I'm just going to knead each one and mold and set aside. See, it's not perfect. This one is so small compared to the first one. But then again, I'm not selling it. Please, it's for my house, for my tummy, for my eyes only. So I'm just going to knead this mold, and cover it up for a while. You can cover it for 30 more minutes, but I covered it for about 5 minutes actually. Now this is fresh mozzarella. That's fresh mozzarella cheese. I'm just going to grate that. I prefer the fresh one because they do not have preservatives in them like the already shredded ones. So I'm opting for this one, and look at that beauty. Beautiful. Now we're going to put it in the fridge. Put in the fridge to prevent it from melting. And so I'm setting this aside and working on the dough one after the other. So I'm running my hands through again to create the bubbles when they begin to cook. I don't know if it actually works, but I think it works though. And so I'm trying to stretch it out. This dough is really good. You can see how elastic it is. So running your hand, you don't even have to use rolling pin to roll it out. Just move it around with your hands. Now this is semolina. I sprayed the pan and spray the pan with oil, and then running semolina around. Why am I doing this? First of all, to prevent the dough from sticking to the pan, so you can easily remove it. And secondly, the semolina gives the body of the dough a little crunch. So when you buy your pizza and the outside, the crust is quite crunchy, or yeah, that is semolina. And so you can see it's not perfect. Don't worry if it feels like it starts to stir. When you put it together, it sticks back. That's how elastic and beautiful this thing is. So next, we're just going to add our sauce. Look at the sauce. You can't see the onions anymore. The onions has dissolved, the garlic, everything is just nice, beautiful sauce. Now I'm just going to be adding the toppings one after the other. Mind you, you can choose whatever you like. Pineapple, in fact, put anything you want. The whole world, it's your choice. Just that's what pizza is for. So adding the toppings, the sausages, the chicken, and the bacon. Now I'm trying to press it through. That's another way to prevent, because the dough tries to come back together. So I'm running my hands through to drive it in. Pressing it down. Now those are mushrooms. I like mushrooms. You do not have to put mushrooms. And then that's our cheese and sweet corn. So just putting our sweet corn, just layering it. That's just all we are doing, layering it. And then the cheese usually comes last, obviously, so you can see it has blended all the other toppings together. I'm putting in the sauce again on top, because you know when you see pizza, you see the sauce like it's mixed with the cheese. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just going to repeat this process for the second one, as you can see. Now this is the third one. I want to show you again, so in case you didn't get it the first time, you can see what I'm doing this time around. See, I put the semolina underneath it instead, and so you can just drag it down the counter and allow gravity to work. It's very elastic, so it's just going to be moving down your hands like extremely easily. So I'm not trying to go for the perfectly rounded pizza, because then again, it's homemade pizza. So I'm just going to try and move it with my hands, spread it out. Anyhow, it's still going to come out really, really beautiful and tasty. And like I said, it's not for sale. You can go all perfect if you like, but this works for me. And so we're going to be rubbing in our sauce like we did the first time, and layering the toppings again. so there we have it. This is before it's been cooked. See how like fully loaded it is. And now this is our beauty. Look at that. Just look at the cheese, all melted and gorgeous. You see the bounce of the pastry, and now look at the cheese slapping, moving, drying. Oh my gosh, don't you want to eat this, guys? Like, look at that. And so how easy was this, guys? Remember to like at this point. If you haven't liked, like, what are you waiting for? If you haven't subscribed, if you haven't pressed that button, what are you waiting for? Do you want to be missing this kind of videos? No, I'm answering for you. It's no. I know you don't want to. So remember to like, share, subscribe. You know the drill now. Just do it. Show some love. Support this hard work I'm doing. Until next time, just look at it. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.